In this update, we're going to be tracking a snowstorm and two powerful cold fronts that promises to bring the coldest Halloween in many years and the first freeze for many by the time we head into the middle of next week. Let's take a look at the satellite picture this afternoon, and that's Tropical Storm Tammy that actually just regenerated out there into the Atlantic. But safely, this is going to be moving away from any land masses. We also have another area of convection that just kind of regenerated out here in the Eastern Pacific that we'll be monitoring over the next 7 days. And further north, you can actually see in the satellite picture where that first initial cold front is right now through the Texas Panhandle, through Oklahoma. And further north, we also have a secondary surge of colder air, and that promises to be more snow. And that snow will actually go into the Denver regions through portions of Nebraska, even into Iowa. So here's some of the snow that's actually fallen so far this October, and pretty significant amounts, especially for the higher terrain. But some of that snow with the coldest air mass so far this fall is going to be bringing that snow line a lot further south than what we've seen so far this October. And you can see the temperatures so far this morning. You can actually, where that cold front is, right? You got temperatures well into the 70s out ahead of it in the warm front, but you've got it's a shallow air mass. So the shallow air masses travel a little bit faster, a little bit denser. And then back behind it, we've even got a secondary reinforcing shot of colder air, and that promises to sink all the way down into the deep south, into the Gulf Coast regions, and bring some of these areas our first initial freeze. But out ahead of it, before we get there, we've got a very soupy air mass this afternoon into portions of Texas through Arkansas. These are the actual dew points, folks. It is extremely muggy out here. The atmosphere is prime, and with that cold front coming in, it's going to have that lift that needs, and that's, you got 100% saturated, 100% humidity down here into these regions. Not going to take much to overturn the atmosphere and really crank out those heavy rains again across these regions over the next couple of days. And I'm pretty excited now because I now have my own weather app, my own POW weather app. You can actually have POW in a pocket now. I've got it on both devices, and that does include Android and Apple, and you can go to the store and download it for yourself, or I created a convenient link that I'll have in the description below that you can click on it and download it there. But if you hadn't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because I do a daily content on this channel. So let's take a look at the setup for this afternoon, because we've got that first initial cold front that's going to be diving southbound. And I think it makes it all the way down into the, say, Georgetown region, into the Waco region. I think that's where it kind of puts on the brakes, and where the brakes stop, and it's going to stall. And I think that's where the heaviest rains are going to unfold later on this afternoon into the evening time frame. So that's why they've actually upgraded this to a slight risk for excessive rainfall across this region, going into the Austin regions, into the Waco region, does include the Fort Worth, into Dallas, all the way up here into Texarkana. That's going to be your heaviest swath over the next 24 hours. But even further south into San Antonio, you're going to get in the action. But going into your Saturday time frame, some of that moisture is going to go up and over that cold front, and it's going to be meandering around that kind of same general vicinity boundary. So those dew points are just highly elevated for this time of year. So the heaviest rain swath is going to be shifting a tad bit north. It's still going to include most of North Texas and portions of Central Texas, but the main heavy swath will be essentially from eastern Oklahoma through the Little Rock region, through Memphis, up into southern portions of Missouri, headed into portions of the Kentucky region. That's where the main swath will be of heavier rainfall going into your Saturday. So let's break this thing down for you. So we've got that cold front that drops southbound. It's going to be lifting back up a little bit because it's a shallow cold air mass, and in between that overrunning of the front, that's where the heaviest rains are going to be. So they're going into tomorrow morning. I think most of the heavier rains will be shifting northbound by then, going into portions of North Texas into southern Oklahoma. While further north, we've got snow going to be breaking out across Wyoming, across the Colorado region, heading into Denver by the afternoon. And that some of that snow will start sneaking in into portions of Nebraska. And I think by the time we head into your Saturday night time frame, I think that's when the most widespread snow is going to unfold. Denver should be cranking out a couple of inches of snow by then, and that snow swath should spread through portions of Nebraska, through Iowa, all the way into portions of Wisconsin. And that pink on the map, that is actually some sleet that could unfold across these regions. So yeah, that's a pretty potent cold front for October standards. So these areas are still within the warm sector, and that's why you're going to produce those very heavy rains going into that Saturday night time frame. And I think that just kind of continues on Sunday as the snow line creeps a little bit further south. Denver should pick up at least 6 inches of snow from this system, even maybe even a little higher amounts as the snow line drops a little bit further south now into southern portions of Nebraska, maybe and sneak into portions of even the Kansas region. So yes, the cold front will be meaning big business by the time we head into Sunday, because those temperatures are going to be dropping like a rock. But behind that, here's some initial snows that I think was going to unfold over the next couple of days. Look at Denver, folks. Could pick up 6 to 9 inches of snow from this system as some pretty. And even into Colorado Springs, a couple of inches of snow in the Fort Collins regions, a couple of inches of snow, but obviously in the higher terrains and in the ski country areas, those are at least over a foot to 2 feet totals from this snowstorm that's going to unfold. And then there's going to be swaths around, that's elongated into that cold front. So places like in the North Platte region, and even into Omaha, back into the Sioux City, Sioux Falls regions. Those are areas that are more likely to get some snow out of this deal as it continues to drop, southbound. But if we go in even into portions of Iowa, even into Fort Dodge region, and even into the Mason City region, a couple of inches of snow can't be rolled out from this particular system that's going to be coming in over the next 48 hours. And if we break it down on the precipitation front, notice where the heavier rains is. I think that's where when that first initial cold front kind of stalls out down there towards central Texas, likely into the Waco region. That area could be the bullseye overnight, picking up maybe 3 to 5 inches of very heavy rainfall that could unfold across these regions. I mean, the dew points are 73, 74, 75. That is a crazy high. That's almost like the average high for this time of year within these areas of North Texas. So I'm expecting another very heavy rain swath to unfold through central and North Texas, through eastern portions, southeastern portions of Oklahoma, through Arkansas, through western portions of Tennessee, going into the western portions of the Kentucky region. I think those are the favorite areas to see the most heaviest rain over the next 48 hours. So now let's talk about the real cold front. So heading into Sunday, these are afternoon temperatures, folks. So yeah, we're not talking about dew points in the mid 70s anymore. Now we're talking temperatures in the middle to upper 40s and the hottest part of the day. So that's a significant change that could unfold. You might not even get out of the 30s all day long into Oklahoma here, into 30s into the Missouri region. So yes, that is going to be a pretty significant cold front for October standards on the way, and it's going to sink fast, and it's actually going to bring that sleet even further south. So even the Texas Panhandle, you might have some treacherous roads on this weekend, especially Saturday night going into Sunday morning across those regions. So I know it's early for this time of year for that to even see stuff like that this far south, but yeah, it's a pretty potent cold front for October standards, and it's going to be bringing a swath of rain that's going to be lifting all the way through Illinois, through Indiana, through Ohio by then, back into Pennsylvania, and that will actually reach all the way up here into portions of the Northeast by the time we head into Saturday night. And it's a kind of a slower moving cold front with shallow cold air, and it's still going to bring that sleet kind of icy mix into far extreme portions of West Texas. Maybe even the Lubbock region could maybe likely to see some sleet, some sleet pellets falling out of the sky. But it's just going to be kind of a chilly rain across a good part of Texas. And all the way down in the south, folks, we're talking Houston, we're talking San Antonio, we're talking Brownsville gets this cold front. Everybody gets this cold front. No one's left out of this colder air that's coming for your Halloween into the first couple of days of November, as that rain swath will continue to move further south. And there's some of the temperatures by the time we head into your Halloween afternoon. I mean, going into that, October 30th time frame. Yeah, that's a 40-degree temperature, folks. That's some extremely cold air. Look at 48 checking in the McAllen region and to Brownsville, all the way down in the deep south. So you got 49 in Shreveport. This is definitely some colder temperatures, definitely for October standards. And you're still waiting on that cooler air. And of course, it will moderate a little bit as it shifts further eastbound. The main surge dives down into Texas to Mexico, essentially, and then shifts eastward and kind of moderates as it shifts eastward. It gets, I guess, less cold as you will. So, but back behind it, you got high pressure. It's pretty dry behind this that stronger cold front that comes through Halloween. So I think most of Halloween is actually going to be pretty nice out there. A lot of nice weather for your trick-or-treaters, but it's a cold one. It's definitely cold, so there's gonna be a lot of sunshine likely in the daytime hours, but at night temperatures are going to be dropping. So before that, we got a lot of rain to deal with across these regions where they're going to have those two powerful cold fronts. And over the next 3 days, we're going to have a pretty significant rain swath of 1 to 3 inches, likely 2 to 4 inches across these regions is definitely not out of the question. So you got more heavy rain. And again, not much to speak of out there out west. And even in the southeast, you kind of miss out on these deals. And much of the southwest don't really get into the action of the cold front. It kind of dives southward and then shifts eastward. So if you live in the southwest, you're not really going to be feeling the effects from this initial cold front that's coming in. But here's the breakdown for, the first November 1st, where I think many areas will likely see their first freeze of the season further south. So you got some sensitive plants out there. You definitely need to be covering those up by then. By the time this is Wednesday, November the 1st time frame, those 20s and even those freezing mark, all those areas in blue here are going to be likely to hit the freezing mark, by the time we head into that, Wednesday, November 1st time frame. And there's the moderation as it shifts eastbound. So by then, as we go into that first couple of days of November, it is going to be shifting eastbound. It won't be as cold as far as below average by then, but it still should be on the colder side for a couple of days. The only area that really kind of misses out on this deal is really much of Florida. It doesn't really get much of this cold front, but look what's waiting on the backside. So after we got a rainy, next couple of days for those areas in the middle of the country, by the time we head with that second surge of colder air, it's a lot drier behind that front. And so we're going to be going through a period of time where we're going to be looking for rainfall across these regions. All eyes will be shifting out towards the West Coast as we'll have systems come in by then. Noticed how warm they were, and that's going to be a warm rain as we head into the early part of November, going into the into the Pacific Northwest and Northern California regions. And that ridge will be slowly shifting eastbound as well. So yes, we've got a pretty good surge, but all indications or temperatures are going to be rebounding as we hit, I think Wednesday's the bottom point. We kind of bottom out with the coldest temperatures, and then we start to moderate as the ridge will start to build, from west to east, kind of all throughout the week as we get deeper into the middle of next week, going into next weekend. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I do like this video. Definitely check out my winter forecast after this update and catch my next update where I protect you before and after the storm.